The first thing I'd like to do is pay my respects to the people of the Kulin Nations, the traditional owners of the land on which Monash stands and operates, and where I am coming to you from today. I want to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging, and also acknowledge that there's a number of people, I'm sure, joining us from interstate or from, other places in the world. So I'd also like to pay my respects to traditional owners from the lands from where you might be joining us tonight. So this panel is about offering some insights, I suppose, into what it's like to be a fine arts, design, or architecture student as part of our kind of amazing international student community here at Monash. We've had a pretty interesting 2020, but our university and our staff have worked really hard to deliver an engaging learning experience that's maintained, I think, a pretty high quality online learning experience. And that's something that's not easy to do, considering that a lot of our units, or a large, I suppose, portion of our art, design and architecture experience is based in the studio. It's hands-on, studio environment work. Our students have definitely embraced the challenge this year. They've shown an amazing amount of creativity and agility to meet the demands, the very specific demands placed on them this year, and they've excelled. So you're going to hear more about this, and hopefully mostly from our amazing emerging artists, designers and architects today, just in a moment. I wanted to add here that at Monash, just for some context, our single degree students are mainly based on our Caulfield campus. And that's, I suppose, around, or, at MARTA, a creative community of practitioners from a range of design disciplines. Our double degree students are also in Caulfield, but they're also part of the Clayton campus as well. All of our students have access to a variety of analog and digital workshops, studios, labs, events, field trips, study tours, regardless of whether they're single or double degree students. At the end of this panel, there's going to be some time for questions. So if you think of anything while we're having this hopefully really exciting and engaging discussion tonight, please feel free to type them into the chat, and we'll make sure that we answer them all towards the end of the discussion tonight, or at least provide you with some additional information if we can't answer them right out. And hopefully Scott and Erin will also be able to help with some of the trickier questions if you've got something to do with, the university, the course that sort of goes beyond our expertise here. So yeah, stick it in the chat and that'll be great. We can come back to it at the end of the discussion. So we have 4 amazing students from across art, design and architecture. And I think the best way to get started is to probably just hear directly from them as they introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about their current areas of focus, career ambitions, maybe give you a little bit of a sense of who they are. Maybe we could start with you, Karen, if that's okay.
Yes. Hi everyone, I'm Karen, and I'm a double degree student on visual art, or fine art and business. So I'm currently in my 3rd year of my degree, so I still have 1 year to go. So far, I pretty enjoy my uni life in Monash, but I'm currently located in China. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Karen. And perhaps Jianxin, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Yep. Hello, everyone. I'm Shin. I'm a mechanical engineering and industrial design student. I'm from Malaysia and I'm in Melbourne now. It's almost been a year since I came here. And I just finished my first year will finish in like 2 weeks. And yeah, it's been surprisingly good this first year.
So close to the end of semester. Great, thanks so much, Shin. Kavi, would you mind telling us a bit about yourself?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Kavi and I'm a first year industrial design student. I'm from Sri Lanka and I've been studying online here the entire year. So all my experiences have been online. It's weird for sure, but it's interesting to adapt to this new way. Yeah.
Thanks, Kavi. And Elva.
Hello, everyone. I'm Elva, and I'm in my third year as an architecture student. And I've been studying in Melbourne for almost 4 years. But this year, I've been studying from my home country, Indonesia. It's been a great experience to studying online. It's as great as learning on campus.
Great. Thanks so much. Awesome. Shall we just dig into some of the questions? Let's go for it. Maybe I could start with you, Shin. What made you choose industrial design and mechanical engineering? What led you to that decision?
So I was looking to study in either engineering or design. So I was applying to like unis all around Melbourne for these courses. And then I came across this course in Melbourne, industrial design and mechanical engineering. I would not have picked them by themselves at all. I would have chosen like graphical design or some other branch of engineering, but they two sounded really nice together. So I researched a bit more into it, and then I applied for it, and here I am. So yeah.
That's great. So you chose to study at Monash in part because of that particular combination of degrees, though?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe this is a really straightforward question, but what's mechanical engineering in terms of how does that fit in your mind with industrial design? How do those things go together?
So these two are like very related to your everyday objects, everything you interact with, your doors, your chairs, your cars, and like how the forces and how materials interact. And so I also really like making things in general growing up, and so this course just felt really well. Yeah.
That sounds great. Yeah. Karen, you're doing a double degree as well, right? You're in finance and business. Could you tell us a bit more about that and how you came to that sort of exciting combination of degrees?
So I did VCE in Melbourne. So basically, to be honest, my parents wanted me to study business, and I really wanted to do art. And that year that I enrolled, they offered a combination of this business and fine art. So I was pretty surprised, and they don't require any folio requirements. So I apply it, and I feel very happy about my choices that I made. Yeah. So I think it's a tricky combination, but I think it works pretty well than expected, because my career goal is to work in art galleries or similar institutions. So I find it quite helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good way to set you up for that kind of work, that kind of career. Thanks, Karen. So Elva and Kavi, you're our single degree students here tonight. What led you both to your respective degrees? Maybe I'll let you choose who wants to chime in first.
All right, I might go first.
Thanks, Elva.
So yeah, the reason why I chose architecture is because I've been interested in building design, and although I'm not very good at hand drawing, but that is not the only way to express your idea. We can express it through digital drawing, various software to create 3D model, and also for model making. And the tutors here in Monash has been very great in teaching and assisting us on those methods. And the reason why I chose Monash in Australia is because it's one of the top universities in Australia. And it is also a great opportunity to explore other countries while also studying.
Thanks, Ella. That's really, yeah, really great. Kavi, did you know that you wanted to be an industrial designer for a long time, or how did you?
That's the main reason I applied to Monash actually, because when I was applying, I wasn't 100% certain what area I wanted to specialize in. Most universities, like you had to pick from the first day itself what area you specialized in, and since I wasn't sure, and Monash like had the three areas I was interested in, I applied, and especially after the first semester, I was able to get an idea on all three different areas and then pick what I like to specialize in my second year.
Oh, that's great. So you kind of get to come in industrial design and learn a bit more about things before you make big decisions about which specialization you want to go into.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Did anyone, I mean, I know, Alva, you mentioned that. Did anyone else find it particularly appealing, that combination, I suppose, of art, design, and architecture together at Monash in the faculty? Was that appealing to anyone in particular? Like the kind of interesting combination of departments we have in the faculty. Not so much.
Yeah, that was really interesting for sure. I actually wasn't one bit interested in architecture when I came in, but after like 2 research essays on buildings, I really like architecture all of a sudden. So yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah. So you kind of, I mean, obviously you're all doing your own special kind of areas and working in your own creative fields, but there are those moments, aren't there, where you kind of get to see other work and other departments. Cool. Awesome. So maybe we could, you've all talked a little bit about why Monash and why the kinds of creative disciplines that you're working in right now. But what about if we turn to some questions or some prompts about this year? You were saying that maybe this year and studying was quite great in a lot of ways, or okay, let's say that there were some really good things that you got out of this year despite the kind of circumstances. Were there things that were really challenging that you had to kind of overcome this year? So maybe we could start with the challenges and then we could head a bit more into things that were highlights or your favorite moments. So does anyone know of a particular kind of challenge? Like Kavi, did you come up, you're studying from Sri Lanka, you were saying, right?
Yeah, one thing I found very hard was the time difference, because many classes started at 4:30 in the morning, but almost all of my lecturers, tutors, everyone was very understanding, and even if I told them like halfway through the semester, they allowed me to switch to a class that's late on in the day, or even if I wasn't able to, because that was the only class that was offered, they were very understanding if I came like a couple of minutes late, or if I was a bit out of it at the beginning. They were very understanding with all of that. And it also helped that all the classes were recorded. So I'm always able to go back and double check just in case I wasn't able to pick up everything at first.
Yeah, that seems really important. And I guess Elva and Karen, you're also joining us from other locations. Did you have any issues with time differences as well, or were your challenges something different?
Well, for me, it was just 3 hours apart, so it's still okay. And it was quite challenging at first because we weren't get used to it of like learning online. And the challenges were that we weren't able to meet the classmates and do this face to face. And especially if you want to get feedback on our projects, because we usually do sketches on the drawings. But thanks to Zoom, that we actually can just draw on screen and mural as well, which we still can pin up as though we're pinning up on the wall. And the tutors has been very patient and very supportive that we're still be able to learn a lot online.
Sounds great. Yeah. So I guess Kavi and Elva, you were both talking a bit about that kind of flexibility and understanding, maybe from both sides, which helps a lot. Did you have any specific challenges, Karen, that you had to kind of deal with this year and all that it threw at you?
I guess it pretty much sums up time difference, especially after some daylight saving times, and online learning skills. Like I wasn't really used to use forum, but now I'm very used to using forum, and really sad that we couldn't have physical interaction with classmates. Yeah, but the lecturers are very understanding about the time difference, so they actually postponed an hour for us. So I was pretty grateful for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Shin, how about you? Did you're in Melbourne, right?
So I think I have like the opposite thing like everyone else got. I live about 3 hours away from Clayton, so I instead of losing 3 hours in the day, I get 3 more hours in the day. So yeah, I'm still quite busy over the semester with all the work from the courses. So I wasn't that sad about not being able to be on campus because I was busy almost every hour of the day. I'm not sure if I could make it if I traveled to the campus. So yeah, that's more or less it.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point that you've actually saved a really big commute. It's interesting that you all, well, I think for quite a few of you mentioned some really specific things like Karen, you're talking about the forum, Elva, you're talking about mural, and I guess in terms of what you were talking about, Kavi, with recorded classes and stuff, it seems like maybe there are a lot of digital opportunities this year to kind of learn new software or new ways of collaborating, or would that be something that kind of came out of this year for you all in terms of just learning new ways to work remotely, or were you already pretty much across that? Yeah. Oh, well, I'll move on to, maybe we went for like challenges and now we could flip into like awesomeness, favorite moment. It could be something to do with a project that you did or a specific class, or maybe, anything. Could you think of something to maybe share with us that was really great, like a highlight of this year? Maybe I could start back with you, Shin. What was a highlight? I mean, apart from not having the big commute.
For me, I really enjoyed the industrial design studio we had. It's CAD drawing, making, and studio. For three of those things, I've been doing it for a very long part of my life. Like I do a lot of like 3D modeling, making and drawing, and it's really nice to be able to uh, do it for class, and also it's really challenging at the same time. So you're put to a really high standard
Yeah,
for all the things I've been doing as a hobby. So yeah, that felt really great.
that's really great. I think Scott was showing us some images before of your work. Was that project from that particular studio? The images? Oh, that's
Yeah, this one.
wow.
This is from the making class. So we were given this entire design with all of the dimensions, and we were just supposed to make it as close as possible. And yeah, I really enjoyed making it. And I had to set up like a nice little home workshop with a little bit of hand tools, and yeah.
That's awesome. It's amazing to think that you did all of that at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Thank you.
I don't know, could we go, Karen, did you want to maybe talk us through, I don't know if you want to lead into some of the projects that we've got images of, or if you had other favorite moments, anything exciting that you could share?
Yeah, so the images I sent it actually was from last year, so not this one, but it's from last year. So this year I pretty much enjoy living in my hometown. So so this is from last year. So I think I'm pretty much happy about this year because I have more opportunity to explore the local art industry and interacting with the local art communities that I didn't have a chance to do. And I did a local exhibition here, so that I think pretty much highlights the year. Yeah.
That's so exciting. What sort of work did you exhibit? Could you tell us a little bit more about the exhibition? That sounds amazing.
So um so the people that running the exhibition was the new friend that I made this year. So they invited me to have a show in the exhibition, and I exhibited my works from last year. So I getting more feedback from people that outside of uni. So I was really happy about it, and yeah, it's pretty much something new and exciting.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Wow. Awesome. So Kavi, how about you? I think we just saw for a second there, Scott put up some of your images there, but what I'm not sure if your favorite moments relate to this work or if they're separate, but maybe you could tell us about both.
It is actually. This is my favorite assignment that I've done so far. It's the first one I did as well. So the assignment instructions were to create a variable um, that addresses like a current problem and find a way to solve that. So this is something you can wear as a form of protective equipment with COVID, like to prevent you getting infected with COVID. And I love that I was able to use coconut leaves with this. Because it's definitely something I wouldn't have been able to do if I was in Australia. Like working here, I was able to work more with materials that I had here, and it's just chances I wouldn't have had if I was in Australia. Because the front of this wearable, it had a mask and goggles and everything. It's um, it's to encourage social distancing, and we were able to go through all the points, and we were able to go through the entire design process as well. And with this being the first assignment in class, everything we were taught the entire design process. You start with this, you work with this. This is each point you're supposed to do, and with this, I was able to really understand each point. Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And that's really interesting. I hadn't realized until you explained it that this was actually related to what's happening at present with COVID. It's really interesting.
The spikes are meant to poke anyone who comes too close to you.
Wow. It's really beautiful. Great. Awesome. Thanks, Kavi. Elva, how about you? What's some highlights for you? We've got some, I think, work from Phillip Island, a project from Phillip Island.
Yes. So, this is the project that I did last semester, where before it all went online, we're supposed to go to Phillip Island to observe the site. But then we ended up just observe from far, which is by Google Map, which is like a good tool that we learn something new, that we actually can observe aside by Nearmap, QGIS, and other online mapping. It was such a great experience.
It's really great. Awesome. So you kind of felt like you still got to understand the site? Looks like
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing. Oh, that's really cool. I was thinking, we're just talking about this work and these great examples of stuff that you've each done and some of the exciting, I guess, things you've been up to too. Maybe it's a good point to talk a little bit about how you think the work that you're doing now, or the kind of courses that you're studying, how you think they might be beginning to prepare you for the types of careers that you want to be doing. I mean, Karen, maybe we could come back to you, because you were just talking about the fact that you've already just had an exhibition and that kind of stuff. So do you think, are there specific ways that you think what you're learning at the moment is helping with your career aspirations?
Yeah, definitely. So from the in first years, I was kind of researching the direction of my art inspiration, and the second year I'm getting more certain about what I am interested in, and now I'm in like the last year of fine art. I think I'm pretty much certain about my practice, what disciplines that I wanted to do, and I'm doing more in photography, and as 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 much as the feedback that I've got, I think it's pretty much. So I mean, sorry. So I think I'm pretty much confident about what I'm doing, and the practices that I did, and the local exhibition like experience and volunteers that I did before. I think it really lead me up to where I will be going in the industry. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. And Shin, you were kind of saying that maybe some of the work you've been doing in studio is drawing on stuff that you had a real interest in before you even started the course. So do you think that there's a good match there, I suppose, between the kind of things you're learning in your degree and where you want to be heading?
Yeah, definitely. I was always the really hands-on person. I'm really interested in the hard skills of studio, as my lecturer put it, like drawing and making and stuff. So those surprised me on how well planned they are. They have rigorous structures, and you have very specific skills you need to learn. It's not just draw. You need to draw properly, and I'm not putting it well, but yeah, I mean, so yeah, that surprised me a lot in general. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And I guess, Kavi, you were saying that you thought that the flexibility in that first year gave you a bit of time to think through where you want to head with your degree. Has that become clearer for you across this year? Or?
Yeah, definitely. Like with that first design I showed earlier, like with that, like the industrial design skills were given. Like we were taught how to prototype, the entire design process, on how to create, like the brainstorming, the research, what's already out there in the like currently, how we can include it in what we are doing, and we were taught all of that like from the industrial design perspective, but we were also taught like from the communication design perspective, like how we can take pictures of this to like show like how it's best to show its features more, and how to create posters about it, and how to present it to other people. Spatial design also, we didn't focus too much on this, but the next assignment we focused a lot on spatial design and how we really interact like with spaces. Like all our assignments, especially in the first semester, everything was included, and you could basically like pick and choose what we liked from each thing, and then decide what we wanted to do.
That sounds really great. Yeah, especially because I imagine it's kind of a bit in fine art, and especially in industrial design, it's probably a bit like architecture as well. You can weigh in, Elva, but it's almost like it's a very new experience to come into these studio-driven units for the first time. It's good to be able to learn about the range of possibilities, or because Elva, you're doing, I mean, it's a little bit different in architecture, right? Because you kind of don't have quite as much choice, I suppose, but you're just wrapping up the bachelor's now. So what you're probably in a good position to tell us how that's kind of working out for you in terms of what you want to be doing next? And
Yeah, I guess the kind of things that I've been learning at Monash in preparation for my future is that we do like a lot of presentation, which is almost every class, individually or in a team, which I think is like a very good way to improve our communication skills and also to be confident as well. And we sometimes do work in group as well, which is good for us to learn how to work with other people. And we've also been learning using different software, architecture disciplines, how to get ideas for your design, which I reckon will be very, very useful for us to work in architecture.
yeah, that's great. It's kind of like the point Kavi made about learning how to actually communicate your design ideas or how to present. I imagine Shin and Karen, that's also been a big part of what you've been learning as well. Not just the actual practice, as you were saying, Karen, but also how it's communicated to others and how it gets out into the world. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we have like two possibilities here. So maybe I'll throw out a choose your own adventure for my next question. I think that you could choose to answer either what the most surprising thing that you've found or learned or understood about your degree and your kind of creative discipline in this last year has been, or in your whole degree, let's say. Or if you can't think of something super surprising and unexpected, maybe you could tell us a bit about what a typical kind of day is like for you when you're studying. What kinds of units do you do and what's it like? What does the day look like? So you could go for something surprising or a kind of not so surprising typical day. I'll let you choose. So Elva, maybe we'll stay with you. What question do you feel like answering?
I guess I'll go with the most surprising thing that about the discipline that I've learned so far, which is design can take different forms. There has been like quite a few things that are quite surprising to me on how we got ideas for our design. One of them was when we were in second semester of our first year, we observed the environment around us, such as wind, trees, and even trash. And we can create a form that was inspired by those stuff. So I think that was quite interesting for me.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Awesome. What about Kavi? We could come back to you. Something surprising, or do you want to tell us a bit about what a day is like for you?
I think I'll go with what a day is like for me. So usually I go for classes, not very early in the morning, but like early-ish. I go for class, and then usually it's a studio. So at the end of class, we'll always have something we can work on after class, like usually for an assignment or research. So we go to class, and then after I'm done with class, I'd take a break and I'd start again all over like the research for all the assignments we've been doing, and then start working on each assignment that I have to do. Like thing, it's a lot of research what we have to do. We don't get taught this is exactly what you're supposed to do. Like I guess what the way I was taught in school, like, okay, this is what you do, this is what you study. We're taught what we have to study, and we're given the resources, everything to do. Like that's what we're taught in class. And then after class, we're taught, like, we go out and do all the research, and then we come up with a product. I usually like meet with a teacher or meet with someone to like go to discuss this again to see if I'm going about it correctly. And yeah, that's usually what I do during the day.
Kavi, you managed to kind of answer both questions. That was very impressive. It's kind of surprising, isn't it, to sort of be given or to be working through a process rather than being given very direct kind of this, and this. You're sort of kind of like what Elva was saying, right? You're looking for design or kind of artistic opportunities in all sorts of exciting places. Maybe before I check in with Karen and Shin, I could ask you, Kavi, if you have a question during that time when you're like outside of class. How do you ask someone about that at the moment? Like, have you found it kind of easy to be able to ask a question, I suppose, outside of class if you get a bit stuck? Or...
Most of the tutors, they're very, very, very responsive, and they're very helpful. Actually, they'll even meet with you outside of class time in their own time to like go through everything. So if I need something specific, I'd email someone, and if they'd either reply with the answer to my problem, or if it can't be in an email, we'd usually schedule something. But even if that's not, if the thing I need is broad, like for research essays, if I need help with like discussing everything, there are a lot of support services, like library learning advisors I went to quite a bit, like English support that I also went to again, and like there was someone who was there for international students, and we could book in a time with them, and I was able to discuss with her, and I was able to get like individual feedback for whatever I needed. And usually I wouldn't be able to get it that day itself, but definitely I'd get it the next day, because usually it's night when I reply and I ask for help.
Time difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great to know, actually, that you've still been able to access all of those amazing support systems, even virtually. That's awesome. Shin, I saw you nodding a little bit. I didn't know if that was your experience too, or if you wanted to choose surprise or typical.
I think it's a little bit of both, I guess. I really agree with Kavi just now. I share a lot of the experiences. To touch on what she said just now. How do I say this? It's like, yeah, sometimes you just feel really lost because you don't know where you are in terms of your design or your work, and you don't really know how everyone else is progressing. And in the second semester, in the beginning of every class, we kind of just show everyone what we're up to, what we've been doing all this while, and talk a little bit about our work. And that helped a lot. You kind of know where you stand among your peers, and maybe you can get like new ideas from looking at other people's work. And yeah, that was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah, you also did an expert job of weaving my questions together. Very impressive. Karen, how about you? Do you want to pick one, or do you want to do some kind of thing too?
Yeah, because I found the most surprising thing that it actually happens like during the week, like almost every day, is about creativity and opportunity. I didn't expect it to have a very tight community to have in my degree. So we have the same class every year, and we are really get on really well with each other. It's a big class, so we have many feedbacks from friends, from classmates, from lecturers, or even just after class you work in the building and you meet someone from a senior year also, that and you look at their works and you kind of be inspired by the ideas. I really like that surprises from others, and the opportunity I think is that I didn't know we have a student run gallery in our in fine art, so there's a lot of opportunity to practice, to even though just being a uni student. Yeah, so just be prepared and do what you love, and the uni will always like give you surprises, I think. Yeah.
That's really awesome, Karen. And actually a good bit of advice thrown in there as well. Amazing. Yeah. Thanks so much. Those are really fantastic answers. And actually there's a lot of similarities across each of your experiences, even though you're all in different programs, which I think is really exciting. Well, I've got an eye on the time, Scott.
Thank you, Alex, and everyone. That has been brilliant. I loved hearing so much about all your study experiences. I hope everyone in the audience has really enjoyed hearing what it's like to study at Monash in Melbourne, and study art, design, architecture, curation, and be able, as Alex pointed out, and Jin, the ability that while you're studying maybe design or architecture or art, you can actually blend and choose units or subjects or electives from those particular areas to enhance your learning, which places you in a really good position to build your skills and knowledge. And also, as all our students were talking about before, those communication skills, because as Alex will tell you, who teaches predominantly into first year, one of the big assets that the Monash students get is to develop communication skills so that you can talk to people from different industries. So an architect is able to speak to an engineer or a business person or a scientist or someone along those lines, and be able to communicate their concept or their brief, as well as what the challenges might be or how we can like help devise a solution. So
yeah, that's so good. I'll tell you what, Scott, too, listening to Elva and Shin and Karen and Kavi talk, I can see that those skills are definitely coming through as well. It was really great.
It's fantastic. We've had a few questions come in, so I am conscious of the time, so we won't keep you all too much longer, but thank you for joining us from everywhere around the world. There's so many countries here tonight. It's brilliant to see. So one of the questions that had come in, we'll start with a fun one, was they wanted to know what kind of for those who had studied on campus before, what kind of activities did you sort of get up to on campus? So I guess Karen or Elva, what sort of activities happened on campus, like festivals or parties, or what did you sort of engage in? Elva?
Yeah, at the end of like every semester, we always have like a celebration together on campus where we can like meet all of the students from different level of years, presenting their work and have drinks as well. And there are also like different festival on campus as well, which happen almost like every month.
Yeah, they do a lot of different kinds of festivals and engagements on campus to keep everyone entertained, which is great. Karen, so studying fine art, you must be able to explore some of the galleries on campus or exhibitions, and there's talks from local and international artists. Are any of those your favorite?
So we frequently go to MAMA, the Monash Art Gallery, and I think there are 3 galleries in the Caulfield campus alone, and we have guest speaker almost like every week, if it's like normally like
Yeah, the art forum. Yeah.
And just talking about festival, because I love festivals. Yes. So I remember we have the summer festival, and we have the whole giant like just make the campus into a playground, if I right. Yeah, that was insane, and I love it. And if you go to clubs like the cultural clubs or any clubs that you like, that you will enjoy, every week they will have so many events. And the sports centers have like Zumba nights. Sorry, I just can't forget this. It just
Have
makes
you done
me
one of
happy.
the nights?
Sorry, the Zumba nights, like that. Yeah, like, yeah. It was so happy. Yeah, I just could not mention it.
That's fantastic, because normally at the festivals they give away lots of like free drinks or juices and sometimes ice creams or food. So then at least you can go do Zumba to work it off. That's great.
And
thank you so much. what were the other questions that's come in? There was one that's come in that wants to know the differences about the design degrees at Monash. So I can quickly give you an overview. Basically, at Monash is quite unique. You apply for the Bachelor of Design. Once you then enter the program, your first 6 months or the first semester is what they call a collaborative semester. So during that semester, you get to experience communication design, spatial design, industrial design, under this banner about what collaborative design is and how a collaborative designer works. So I believe Kavi was speaking a lot about that. And the idea is it gives you a taste of a lot of different areas of designs and some experiences. And then in second semester, you then choose which specialization you'd like to do, be it communication, spatial or industrial. And then that's what you move through your studies with. So you, Kavi, you found that collaborative first 6 months quite good to experience different areas of design that you hadn't thought of.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's someone's not just telling me, okay, this is what communication design is, this is what industrial design is, you'll be working with products, you'll be working with this and that. We're actually like doing assignments that includes all of these elements, and we can see for ourselves like, this is what this has, this is what this has, and then we can decide like, this is what we want to do. I found that very useful.
That's great. Yeah, we get a lot of really positive feedback about that first collaborative year. And the idea is that it opens up possibilities and opportunities for students. So I might, on that note, throw one to Alex, because Alex here looks after first year for the Bachelor of Architecture. So what do you try to provide the students in first year? What kind of experience do you try and provide our first year Bachelor of Architecture students, Alex?
Yeah, well, I mean, unfortunately, I just missed Elva in first year. I must have come in when Elva was in second year, which is a shame. But what you were saying, Elva, really underlined my experience as well of like trying to talk through with students opportunities for understanding design processes. So thinking about how we develop a whole lot of different strategies as emerging architects or beginning designers for proposing ideas. And like Elva was saying, they can come from a wide variety of different kinds of prompts or inputs. But the skill that you learn is much more about, I think, how you begin to think as a designer. And actually going back to some of the points that some of the students made, it's not about, I think Elva, you were saying, it's not about being a beautiful sketch artist, although I'm sure you all are. You sort of come in and you learn about design processes and design thinking and working through things. And we definitely work on communications and, you know, improving your drawing skills. But I think it's exciting to think about how you start to think, you know, through designs.
Absolutely. Excuse me, sorry. Perfect way of describing it, because one of the things we find that Monash does really well is that it enables you to think differently and to think like a designer or an architect, or have the ability to think like an artist and understand what social issues are and sustainability, and how, as an emerging artist, designer and architect, what is your voice going to hold, not just in with your local community, but nationally or even globally. And I think that's a really wonderful thing to be able to, as you are, Alex, a lecturer, impart that onto future students. Yeah, it's great. I might just quickly say I'm really conscious of the time. So just before I hand over to Alex to say thank you, and we say thank you to our amazing panel of students, I just wanted to let you know a couple of important pieces of information. So with next year and what the situation is with COVID and what the world is going through, Monash itself is still planning to try and moving towards on-campus study for next year for semester 1. It will be what they call blended learning. So that is a combination of on-campus as well as online studies. So the university is moving forward with that objective, and of course making sure that every touch point along the way for students and staff is COVID safe and that is respected. We do adhere to the Australian government, so we will be looking towards them for advice how we move forward. But if you apply or if you have applied, the international office will contact you with what will happen with your studies for the start of next year. So having said that, if you're looking to apply or haven't applied, please go online and visit the study pages, so the fine art, architecture or design page, and on each of those pages is a link that says how to apply, and that runs you through a step-by-step instructions of what you need to do. So I'll pop a link in here for more information so you can explore all the facilities that our students have spoken about, see a little bit more of what campus life is about. There's a wonderful little video there from Declan, one of our Master of Architecture students, actually taking us through some of the spaces. And if you look, especially on the Bachelor of Architecture page, you might see a video with Alex. Alex is pointing, or whichever way Alex is. But I will hand over to Alex to say farewell. Thank you very much to our students. You were all amazing. And I'll let Alex do the formalities. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Scott. And before I go any further, I want to make sure we thank Scott and Erin for putting together such an amazing panel. So exciting to be able to just talk through and to share some of this great work, but also great experiences with everyone and just get to talk. So thanks, Erin, and thanks, Scott. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much to Karen, to Shin, to Kavi, to Elva. Your time and your just articulate, amazing experiences and insights into what it's like to be studying at Monash is just so valuable. I think, Karen, you're about to head into a year of business, is that right? So best of luck with that. Elva, you're about to embark on a new Master of Architecture journey. So best of luck and congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. And I just wanted to say to Shin and Kavi that, you know, amazing job with moving through this first year of the program, and hopefully I'll get to say hi to you on campus sometime soon. Thank you all. It was really amazing. And thanks to everyone for joining us. It was a great discussion.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks
Enjoy
so
your
much.
evening. Keep safe. And hopefully we will see you all at Monash very soon, whether it be online or on campus. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.